Hey guys, we're at Khao San Road in Bangkok, and 20 years ago I was dropped off just at the corner here by a taxi that came in from the old Don Muang airport, and that was my first trip to Thailand. Let's have a look and I'll tell you a few stories about the area that you wouldn't have heard before. And so there's the old temple over the road here at the end of Khao San Road, and this was the police station, which has been demolished. They're building something here, maybe a new police station. It's not sure to me what they're building, but this was called Gulliver's. It was a very lively pub 20 years ago. Maybe it's just been renamed. It seems to be fairly similar. Let's take a walk down Khao San and see what's happening. So just outside this police station that I just showed you, when I arrived it was nighttime on my first trip here, and I was pretty jet lagged, and had a little look around. I thought it was a pretty edgy place, and so I got some sleep. Next morning when I came out of my guest house, which was just up here on the right in one of the little side lanes, there was a big commotion just outside the police station, and a lot of people, big crowd formed. Anyway, I got down there to the corner, and there was a taxi with the front windows smashed and the side front passenger door windows smashed, and a lot of blood on the ground. And I talked to one European guy who was standing there. I said, "What happened?" He said, "Oh, just a couple minutes ago, the taxi pulled up. There was a guy in the passenger seat. He's a well-known dealer in the area. And someone came running out of the crowd, a Thai guy, and smashed the windows of the taxi, opened the passenger door, and stabbed him a whole bunch of times. Blood everywhere. The guy was definitely dead. The cops just dragged him into the police station." I said, "Wow, it just happened." And did the cops chase the guy? No, he just walked off calmly. So apparently, the guy said, the dealer had been quite rude to the police and operating with impunity for quite a while in the area because of his connections. And that was a first lesson for me about this area. So my instincts were right. It was an edgy kind of place, and yeah, even when the taxi dropped me off the night I arrived here, I didn't really trust that it was the right place. And I had the taxi guy walk halfway down the street to the side lane to show me where the actual guest house was, which was in one of the side lanes to the right, just along here, maybe somewhere along in here. It's changed a fair bit, but a lot of the same buildings are still tucked away here and there. Mostly the same buildings. A lot of stuff's been remodeled. Recently the street's been repaved. Looks a lot better. Was a normal street before that, which was closed most of the time to sell stuff, market style, as you can see. But already the new paving's looking pretty dingy. A lot of the business people put their rubbish out in plastic bags with holes in them, with cooking oil, food scraps in the bags, and the oil gets everywhere. That's why it's all dirty looking, even though it's actually been done not really very long ago, a couple years ago at most. Anyway, don't want to scare you guys about this place. It's safe if you're not naive, but if it's your first time traveling out of your home country and you've got jet lag, it's the kind of place you want to watch yourself. So let it be a lesson. It's always a smart thing to check on the internet a bit before you go to a new country and Google about scams in different countries. Because before I first came here, I'd lived in a lot of places in the world, like New York City, New Orleans, and other places, other countries. And I thought I knew pretty much all of it, most of it. But I kept my mind open, you know. And sure enough, definitely found out a bunch of things I didn't know about in this country. So, there used to be some fake ID sellers along the way here. I don't see them anymore. It's cleaned up a little bit since the past times. A bit, I can say. So, all these market sellers, a lot of the actual sellers are not Thai. They're from the bordering countries in the region, working for very little money, and Thai people usually own the actual stall, and they have to pay a pretty penny to local higher-ups who kind of manage this kind of thing. So yeah, it's not just a free-for-all. There's a lot of money flowing through, and most of it goes up. I remember the first couple of days I was here on my first trip. I was really shocked at how you just couldn't relax and walk around. There were every few seconds people yelling to you, trying to get your attention to buy something. A lot of them were scammer types. It seemed pretty lawless at the time, but having seen that everything was right under the nose of the local bill, the local plod, I quickly figured out yeah, there's only so much we can say in this part of the world about how things are organized, goings on, who runs things, who gets paid for what. So we better not say too much about that. Join the dots. But okay, we're coming to the end of Khao San Road now, and you can see there's actually a lot of old buildings around here. It's actually part of the old town of Bangkok, and I'm not going to show you down every side lane. There's quite a few. Some of them look pretty cool. If you look behind all the stuff that people are trying to sell, there's some nice architecture. Some nice 1930s buildings just on the corner here, for example. Okay, we're going to duck back in here and head through a little side lane just up here on the right side. Okay, let's head through here. Yeah, Khao San's a really fun place, and it should be a must-see place on every traveler's itinerary. Every serious world traveler has to pass through here at some point if they want to be really serious about it. But yeah, it's good to be aware of things. That's why I'm pointing out some of these things and telling some of these stories. So this lane, see a bit of remodeling going on, but normally it's got a bunch of nice little bars and some souvenir shops, and there was a cool second-hand bookshop up here. I don't know if that's still here. A lot of marijuana shops around these days. Of course, not long ago marijuana was decriminalized, I guess. So it's pretty much a free-for-all in Thailand now with that stuff. And we come out on Soi Rambuttri. And Soi Rambuttri is the street that people find out about after they have had a day, after they've had a day or two on Khao San Road, and they've wandered around a bit, and it's actually a much nicer road than Khao San Road. is more mellow, and yeah, everything about it is nicer, I can say. Soy Rambuttri runs parallel to Khao San Road, but it also crosses over the road where we started and goes around the side and around the back of the temple at the end of Khao San Road. Usually backpacker types who are traveling and just making their arrangements in a flexible way, who can change their plans on a day-to-day basis. Usually they'll stay the first night or two on Khao San Road, where it's a bit noisy and crazy and wild party atmosphere and a bit edgy for sure, no doubt, as we've pointed out, and then they'll usually find a more mellow spot on Soy Rambuttri and have a few nights. This is a good place for watching the football, by the way. And that's great. And then after some more days, they find out about the next streets over to the right up here, the area which people call Samson Road, which is just over a bridge a few blocks down on the right there, which is even more chill. And that's where the long-term expats and people who come back a lot usually gravitate over there.
But they are not open yet.
So, like I said, there's lots of interesting little side lanes, but we don't have time to look at everything, and I like to leave something to the imagination a bit, and something for you guys to check yourselves when you roll through this way. So I've spent most of my time in the last 12 years bouncing around in Southeast Asia, and so I've spent a lot of time around here off and on. Seen a lot of things go down. Like I said, the first time I came through this way was 20 years ago. Seen foreigners get a bit too drunk, and like I said, there's a lot of scammy types around who like to try it on, and basically if you tell them where to go in too colorful language, you're likely to get 20 people jumping on your back with clubs, and basically, yeah, could be the whole street. If you're like Bruce Lee, you might have the whole street on your back eventually, right? I heard a story about a special forces soldier from America who had that happen one time. He took out a whole bunch of people before someone cut his Achilles tendon on the back of his heel, and he went down under a huge number of people. I guess the thing that really shocked me the most when I first came to Thailand was just the indifference of the locals to all the kind of scammy stuff directed at tourists. But yeah, after a number of years, I remember a conversation I had with one of my really good friends from Thailand, and she said, well, what do you expect someone like me to do? Should I go to those kind of people and tell them it's wrong? Should I try to complain to higher up people? What should I do? Because I want to live too. I don't want to come to a sad ending myself, right? So yeah, I thought, well, yeah, it is like that. Of course, in this part of the world, these things, some things are directed at foreigners, but there's a lot of stuff directed at locals by powerful, shadowy types as well, and so yeah, that's the way it goes, right? It's not just a simple thing, but still, it would be nice to hear more locals just speaking out a bit among each others and to foreigners and warning people. I used to warn a lot of tourists when I first started hanging back in this area 12 years ago, and when I was spending quite a bit of time around this area. Great bookshop, by the way, and great bookshop with nice owners, I must say. There are plenty of nice people around too, but yeah, anyway, back to keeping people safe. Yeah, so I used to warn travelers, and I was threatened a few times by scammer types. So some friends said to me, just leave it, you know, you try to help people, they look at you like you're the one trying to do something wrong. They want to follow these sketchy people. It's some kind of exotic thing for them or something. They won't trust you, but they'll trust them. And then they get scammed, right? So let them learn the hard way. So eventually I thought, okay, we'll let Mother Nature take care of it. So the lessons learned the hard way are usually the best ones, if you live. Anyway, so coming around the back of Rambuttri now. This is where it's really pretty chill. Anyway, like I said in the beginning, if you're not naive, when the wrong kind of people try to get your attention, just ignore them with a little half smile. Don't even look at them. Pretend you don't understand English or whatever. It's a hard thing if you come from a European type society. You feel obliged to be polite and react and acknowledge when people try to get your attention, but you just can't do it in a place like this. Otherwise you can't relax, you can't enjoy much, you can't look around, you'll have people on you the whole time. I haven't been getting too much of that while I'm filming, but you know, I had a couple people touch my arm as I was walking along who were trying to sell things, even though they saw what I was doing, and they didn't care, you know, they didn't care if it interrupts me. So, you know, you got people like that, they'll try to give bad untrue information to some young couple who's on their honeymoon. Some poor people from Romania or whatever, somewhere, who's been saving for years to finally get a holiday outside of their country, and then they'll lie to them and say the Grand Palace is closed, and put them in a scammy tuk-tuk tour to some places where they try to sell them fake gems. Stuff like that. Here's a cool back way into the little temple that we started outside of. So we're right around the back of Rambuttri now. So it goes further and it goes to the left, and it's nice back there, but we're gonna head... Hello. We're going to head down this way. Phra Athit. So I was meaning to tell you earlier, Khao San road was a street used for the rice trade in the old days, and this lane connects to the road which is next to the river. So because Khao San pretty much backed onto the river in the old days, it was easy to unload rice from boats that came from upriver and sell rice on Khao San Road, or do whatever other things to do with it. Yeah, milling it and so on. So Khao means rice in Thai. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, this is a cool little lane to go through, and there's a few interesting guest houses on this one. It comes out on Phra Athit Road, which is right next to the river. And it's a really cool road, actually. We'll have a look down there a little bit. Okay, so when I turn to the left there, that's the direction you can walk if you want to go to the Grand Palace and some of the most famous old temples in Thailand and in Bangkok are down there. But we're going to turn this way, and this is a nice little walk along here. And I'm not going to tell you any more about this scam stuff. You can look on Google or internet anywhere and check it, and that's what you should do for every country before you visit any country. Alright, so there's some cool places to eat along here. There's a few guest houses. On the left side there are a few lanes that go to the river as well, which is pretty nice, where you can catch ferry boats which go up and down the river. They're very cheap, and I said I wouldn't talk about scams anymore, but just be careful, because some of the people that work down there, they try to push foreigners onto special tourist boats which are a lot more expensive than the normal commuter ferry boats, and they're not really faster or anything. Some of them you can have a dinner cruise in the nighttime. People say it's kind of nice, so that might be an option for some people. But if you're just trying to get around from A to B, jump on the normal commuter boats. And there's I think 3 different color flag ones. There's a few guest houses down this lane, and some street food there, by the way. It's very good too. Yeah, I think there are 3 different color flag type commuter boats. So basically express, and then normal, and then the one that stops at every boat station. They're all okay, actually. You pay a couple baht more for the express one. They're very cheap though. Good way to get to Chinatown and Silom Road, for example. Some important parts of Bangkok. It's a pretty cool park here on the corner with a nice river view, and one of the last remaining forts of old Bangkok. The city wall, you can see there's part of it there, it's broken. City wall used to come along here, and then it used to go around at a right angle there, and then probably in those days the river came up onto the park area. You can see the buildings are actually lovely and old along here. Some really nice food options in these little places on the right side. Definitely recommend them. But of course, always check prices with everything. Check the menu, check the prices, make sure you're clear before you order things so you don't get any nasty surprises. This is a really cool museum for the local area. I definitely recommend it. It's very interesting. It's been open for a few years. And if you cross over that little bridge, you come into the Samson Road area, which I mentioned earlier, which is very interesting. We're in the park on Phra Athit in the Khao San Road area, and right next to the river here. Fantastic view. This is a lovely little park for any time of the day, with some cool air coming off the water, and lots of shady trees, and the lovely old fort back here. So it's a really cool place to come and hang out alone or with some friends, maybe some people you meet. You can meet people here too. I've met some nice people here over the years, people that were traveling, or some locals, some local university girls and so on. Interesting to meet the different types of people and have a chat, find out about how people live and what they're doing with themselves. It's a good way to find out more about things. There's an interesting guest house just over this little bridge here. So there's a little side canal here. So that's a pretty interesting spot there. That guest house in there actually. But you see there's a few interesting places. Anyway, this canal has a boat station just up here, which would have been great if they'd connected it to the main canal boat network, which has its end station very close to here. Probably about 15 minutes walk down the canal. You come to the last boat station of the city boat canal network. But they never connected it to this boat station just behind this bridge here. And it's a pretty odd thing. Okay, the boat station that's just here, they used it for a special tourist service, which followed the same way as the normal local boats, but it cost 200 baht, whereas the local boats top price was 18 baht. That was to go all the way to the end of the network. The tourist boat didn't even cover as much ground, or water I should say. So obviously some important people were involved in that decision, right? Probably the taxi mafia too had something to say about that. They wouldn't like to have a cheap boat service only 5-minute walk from Khao San Road. But like I mentioned, the normal boat service and terminal, it's about 15 or more minutes away from Khao San Road. Just far enough that most foreigners don't know it exists and might think they have to fork out for taxis to go everywhere, or overpriced tuk-tuks, etc, etc. Anyway, let's continue down Phra Athit a little bit more. Here you can see there's the ruins of something behind this old bus here. The ruins of something. It's been made into a shrine. There's usually a lot of cats hanging around it. I'm not sure what it used to be. Maybe I knew in the past and I've forgotten. I'm not sure now, but some cool street art. Bangkok's become one of the best cities in the world for street art. Along the canals is where you can find most of the good stuff. And this lane on the side over here is a cool place with some quiet guest houses. If you're on a shoestring budget, have a look down there. If you're of discerning tastes, if you like a laid-back spot with experienced traveler types to chat with. And the Samson Road Bridge. So this is Samson Road. Right on the other side is the Samson Road area. And when you graduate from Khao San and Rambuttri, this is the place where you want to stay over here. So on the corner here is an old department store that was illegally built too tall. The top floors were eventually demolished, and it's been abandoned for years. It was kind of a little bit known on the internet in recent years because it was flooded and people released fish in the ground floor area, and there was all these fish breeding there. So if we go back down this way, we come back to Khao San Road where we started. There's a couple nice cafes and some interesting old department stores and an old supermarket on the left side that are very much worth having a look in if you want to see kind of 1950s or 1960s style, Thai style. Definitely recommend having a peek in those places. Well, it's actually open. Yeah. And of course, the local guy has to try to boss you. So they're ripping it all out, obviously. Who knows what's happening. They've had some events here in recent times. Keep smiling, buddy. Alright, we'll leave the happy chappy to find some other tourists to try to bark at. Anyway, land of smiles, eh? So, this road, like I said, heads back down towards Khao San Road, passes Soi Rambuttri on the way.
When you get a job, you pay back. Orange can go to salad.
So, just to finish on a bitter, sour note, I will say, to save your lives, the tourist areas in Thailand are the worst of Thailand in a lot of ways because they attract the worst kinds of people. And a lot of the foreigners are not that great either, I can tell you. But anyway, the area around here should not be missed. It's usually the first look that foreigners get at Thailand, and there's a lot of fun to be had. So I hope things I've told you guys can help you guys out, keep you out of trouble, and make sure you have a great time. That's the whole point of it, and giving you a bit of a look around. There's a lot more to see. Definitely get in and make the most of it. So we have come full circle back outside the temple at the end of Khao San Road where we started. That's all for this time, folks. See you in the next one.